Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Try the Goulash. This is Blake.
It's Willie.
And it's Alex.
Last week, we were talking about traveling, going to different countries, going to different places. This week, we're talking about home.
Coming back home, baby.
What's home? What is that? So the concept of home.
Yeah.
What do you guys think it is?
I mean, it's a crazy concept. Home is always going to be, to me, our hometown. JC, Mo, baby.
I would agree.
Oh,
And
I would say I would agree with
Like,
that.
home
regardless
it's wherever you grew up. My vision of home is wherever I grew up. And I mean, it helps that my parents still live in my hometown. So, no matter what, like, even though I'm living in Kansas City, home to me, obviously this is my hometown. Like, this is my new home, but home to me will always be JC.
I agree. If my parents ever moved out of JC,
It would be really weird.
I would probably still consider it home.
Yeah. Same.
just because you spent, the first 18 years of your life there?
Yeah, I mean, more than that. Like, I lived there in the summers when I was in college, too. But it's not just the city. I think home is more of a feeling than a place.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so, like, even though Jeff City and, like, my childhood home are physical places, it's more of the feeling that's attached to those places for me.
Yeah, no, I get where you're going there.
Can you have more than one?
Home?
I don't think so. I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think so.
I think it's situational. In our all three of our instances, I think yes, we can only have one home. Whereas, let's say if I lived somewhere until I was 10 years old, and then I moved somewhere else, like, I think that would be a good instance where you could have two homes.
Just because you didn't spend as long?
Yeah. But 10 years, like, that's kind of beneficial. You'll always remember that as a kid. And then you move on to another place, and you kind of you still live a good portion of your childhood in that hometown. So I don't know. That's kind of how I see it.
I just thought of something. I just had a revelation. I really haven't given this podcast much thought up until right now. Mm-hmm. So my parents split up when I was younger. So I have my dad's living in one place, my mom's living in one place. They're both in the same city, but they obviously both have different houses. And my concept of home is wherever my parents are living. So maybe that's what it is for me. Yeah. It's just like wherever my parents are living. Because my dad lived, like, when my mom and my dad split, my mom left our childhood house, and my dad lived there for a long time, and I still considered that home, but I also considered where my mom was living was home. And then my mom also moves a ton. Like, she'll fucking live in a house for like 3 years and just be like, yeah, I want a new house now. And she'll just like move. Like, that's just Dot. And, but every house she's moved to, I still consider home.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I think what you said about just our parents in general, that wherever they are, I agree with that statement. It's very true. Because it's like, if you think about holidays, you're going home. And let's just say, for instance, like, my parents moved to St. Louis or somewhere. Like, obviously, I would probably go to St. Louis just to, like, be with them. And I don't know.
For holidays.
Yeah, I think that would be...
Like, home is more of, like... to me, it's like waking up and smelling the coffee my mom has on, and like eating breakfast at the table together. Like, that's more home to me than like a building or a house.
Okay, so that's slightly contradictory to what we were talking about earlier, as far as just like, if you live in a place for much of your like growing up.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I think the more of like the mealtime and the Christmases you have and the conversations with your parents, the more of those experiences you have in a house, that house gets tied to those feelings
Sure.
and becomes more home.
I mean, that's with anything. Any sort of emotional experience is going to create a sort of idea in your head of whatever the environment is. But like when I grew up, I was living on St. Louis Road until I was 10 or 11. And then we moved into the house that my parents live in now. And so, like now, when I think of home, I will picture that house
Yeah.
and whatever. But yeah, like just the idea of Jeff City in general is
Yeah, I mean, Jeff City
probably
as a whole is gonna always be home to
Yeah.
me, no matter what. Like,
Totally.
I just have too many memories in the city.
I think that and like just living basically our whole entire childhood there.
Yeah.
Like just because of that, that will always be home for me.
Yeah. So is home just where you grew up to like the age of what, your teens or something
Yeah.
like that? Is that what home
I don't
is?
know.
I think that there are different facets of the idea of home, and I think that it has like you can use the same word home for different ideas and
I
different
agree.
emotions.
It's just
because
like love. It's like saying
home
love.
was St. Louis Road for me, and every time I drive past that house, like to go to Ben's or whatever, I like have fond memories, and I was like, that used to be my home. Like that was the first home I knew.
I was gonna
But
ask.
now it's on El Marine. But then again, like my parents' house that they live in now, I do consider home. When I'm going back to Jeff, I tell people, yeah, I'm going home for the weekend or whatever. But at the same time, like if I go on a trip away from here, like I'm about to travel for 3 weeks, when I come back, I'm going to be like, man, I'm ready to be home. And I'm going to be talking about this house, not my parents' house.
Right. Right.
And honest, like right now, home to me, like if you were to just be like, if somebody were to ask me, are you going home?
Yeah.
I would first probably think of this house.
Yes, I would.
And I've only lived here for
Nowadays.
2 years.
And it's weird because
Really, you gonna cry?
yeah, I'm gonna fucking cry.
This my home.
Yeah. No, that is weird because it's just like I kind of said, obviously our hometown is Kansas City.
Yeah.
And
Right now.
I even
Recent history.
I said on the last podcast that like traveling and basically Al just hit the nail on the head. Basically just saying when you travel, coming back home.
It's weird though,
It's
because
here.
you almost just leave like pieces of yourself in places. Like if I was driving through Warrensburg, I would kind of be like,
Yeah.
God damn, like
I think
Oh yeah.
this is homey. Or
Yeah.
if you were in Kirksville,
K
like
Vegas
you'd be like, shit.
brings me the feels.
you can.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think home. Now that you're mentioning that, like it's wherever you basically live.
It's where you have the home base.
Yeah.
Wherever you're
If
set up.
if
and
you've
comfortable.
lived there for like longer than 6
Oh
months,
yeah.
I would say that
I would
would
agree. Like the place I'm living at
classify
now,
as home.
like Al was saying, I would consider that home. But like if I want to get to like the place I really feel is home, it's Jeff
Yeah.
City for sure. But then like I like drive around Warrensburg and I'm like, well, this is kind of homey to me as well
yeah.
because I lived here for 4 years. So is it just like how much time you spent in a place? Maybe
Cumulative.
I still drive
That or
by.
like a comfortable
I think it's
space.
it's a very timely phrase and feeling. Like my idea of home now is much different than it was 5 years ago.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I would agree.
And honestly,
Totally.
at least since probably halfway through college, whenever I actually had a house, I don't know, like my house in Jeff, my parents' house, it's comfortable for sure, and it's very homey because I lived there for so long. But at the same time, anytime that I've traveled there since basically college started, it's more or less been visiting. Like I've spent less time
definitely
at my parents' house than I have at wherever else I have been paying rent at since the beginning of college. And so like I've basically been living out of a duffel bag or a backpack anytime I'm at quote unquote home that is my parents' house.
Yeah.
So like in like now even if I walk in that house, I'm super comfortable. I'm greeted by my parents and my dogs, and it's a super loving environment. I feel totally comfortable and not awkward at all. But maybe not even as comfortable as I do right now here. Like it's just where I live. This is where I live now, and I've set up camp, and I'm still a visitor to them. Like they probably don't see it that way, but like I am visiting their house.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. When your parents sold the house on St. Louis Road, did you ever like drive by it? And like I still drive by
all the time.
when I'm like coming in on 50 to Jeff. My childhood house is like right off of that,
off of Dix Road,
off of Bighorn Drive.
Oh yeah.
We're like dropping a whole bunch of shit. I guess you can look this up.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter.
Nobody knows what this
Yeah,
shit
it doesn't
is.
fucking matter. But sometimes when I'm coming home, I'll like take Bighorn Drive and I'll like drive by the house. And there's other people living in that house now, and it's fucking weird. It's like
is
goddamn.
the trippy thing.
It is trippy,
Because like your old
very
home
trippy.
could be somebody else's new current home.
Yeah, and it is. Like they have painted and stuff, and I'm like, I like played Nintendo as a 5-year-old in that house. Like this is weird.
That's gonna be very, very strange for me because my dad basically built my house that we're living in right now.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm. He didn't build he did at that time.
Had like a helping hand in it.
Yeah, well, like he didn't do any of the framing or anything, but he did basically all the concrete work.
Makes sense.
Just like a lot of work that he like designed the house and whatnot. But needless to say, I will be very, very sad when we get rid of that house because that has been our house.
Your entire life.
And not my entire life. I moved there when I was like 3 or 4.
I mean, that's
a
long time though.
Before I could really remember,
life,
and I'll just be very sad when my parents decide to get out of that house.
It was weird when my dad moved. Like I wasn't even attached to it anymore, and like Al was talking about, like I would rarely come home to like visit my parents because I'm like older now. I'm doing my own life kind of thing. But when he like texted me, he's like, "Yeah, I sold it." I was like, "This is so like," it made me super melancholy and stuff.
Yeah.
It was really odd. Maybe it's not the parent thing that I said earlier. Maybe it's home to me is the people that are around me. Like if you guys didn't live here in Kansas City and I didn't know anybody and I was just living here, I don't think I would feel like Kansas City is home. Like I have a lot of friends and support here where I live right now.
I agree.
And
but then again, I don't know. I mean, anywhere you can go, you can meet new people. I know that's easier said than done.
Yeah. It just takes time.
But I think you can make it. If you really want to do it and you have what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But basically, if you really want to make that happen, you'll make it happen.
I agree. This is kind of off topic, but I feel like when I was like in college, I always thought that I would like move somewhere cool. Like I was like, I'm going to move to Colorado or move to Florida or move out, West Coast somewhere because it would be beautiful and cool. But anymore, I don't really think setting matters. I think it's like the people that are like around you.
For sure. Matter. I think I definitely prioritize that. And I don't know, I guess I've traveled a lot in my life, not as much as some, I'm sure, but I'm definitely fortunate in my opportunities they've been given to go places. But I lived in Colorado for 6 months right after graduation, and while I was there, I totally considered that home. Like when I got done with work and we went back to our shitty cellar, concrete floored apartment, I still was like, okay, I'm home, and like I could kind of decompress. just because that's what it was. And I don't know, maybe it would have been different if I didn't have roommates and I was all alone. But obviously I came back, and a lot of that was because I was like, well, fuck. Like, I'm living here. This is my new home. I'm paying rent for this place, this geographical location. But everybody I know and love is back in Missouri. So it was kind of, I didn't make it my home after all, because it was, I mean, there were some weird things that were happening. Like, my grandma died right at the end of my seasonal job. And so I was like, well, I have to make a decision whether to stay here or go back home.
When you
I
moved out there,
I went back home.
When you moved out there, I thought you were gonna live there for good.
Honestly,
I
did
didn't think you
too.
were coming back.
After I graduated college, I totally did. I was like, I'm gonna make Colorado my new home. And then, like, we had 4 guys out there at the beginning, and then after the summer was over, it was just me and Lucas. And he was just talking mostly about he can't wait to get home to move in with Sarah.
That's a perfect example. Like, if Lucas left, which he did, like, and you would have stayed,
it was just me.
It would have been awful.
Yeah, I didn't have anybody.
Shitty.
I didn't have that community.
Even though Colorado is like dope as fuck.
Yeah, and
like,
I totally could have been friends.
It would have been like I don't think I could do anything like that. I guess I could make friends too, but
maybe if you went out there by yourself from the beginning and you were like forced to make friends,
that would be
that'd be one thing. But I was out there for 6 months with friends already built in, so I didn't really branch out while I was there, and then I kind of just got in the habit of like not really talking.
Sounds like me in college.
People.
I was just in with my clique. So yeah, maybe it's more the people.
I think it definitely is. I mean, I think, like, for example, I've been on the road with people, and I'm going to use the example of when I went to Philadelphia for that install. My company makes a lot of, like, decorative elements that kind of innovate a space. So, like, we do a lot of sports stadiums, schools, movie theaters. We'll do all kinds of different things, from chandeliers to sculptures, artistic sculptures. So we sculpted this big owl for Temple University, and my company was nice enough to let me take my girlfriend with me on this install. So I, like, drove this box truck. Actually, no, it was just a cargo van with all the
spice up the story. Tell everyone it was a semi.
No, it really wasn't.
I know it was.
I've driven semis across the country, but not really even semis, box trucks. Anyway,
it was a semi.
I took my girlfriend with me. I was in a foreign place that I had never been before, and it was really only like a 2-day install. And so the first day I went on site and I did my thing. I installed, and I was basically by myself. I had one other guy, but it's not like he was a family or friends. Like, he was just a coworker, and we weren't even really working together. He was doing his thing and I was doing mine. So anyway, I got done with the day. I worked like a 10-hour day, and then went, like, I think it was like a 14-hour day, because I had to do a bunch of shit later that night. And my girlfriend was waiting for me back at the hotel, and even though I had only been there for like 2 nights in Philly, definitely not long enough to consider anything home.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, compared to 20 years in Jeff. But still, after that one long work day, and I came home and she was there in my hotel room to greet me, like, that's all I needed for it to be home. That random fucking Holiday Inn in South Philly.
Just because there was someone that you knew.
She was all I needed to be home at that point, and it was enough to, like, decompress. And I came home and was like,
but
here we are. I'm back. Like, I worked on the job site. I worked, and then I returned to my very temporary home, which was a hotel that she happened to be staying at.
But like, it's not that hotel wouldn't be like that deeper sense of home where
Definitely not.
There's
Not
like
like El
Thanksgiving
Marine.
dinner with your family. Like, it's not gonna touch
sure.
that at all.
What are you talking about?
Guys, how long do you think it takes you to make a place your home? Because I'll tell you this, like I was talking about earlier, my mom moving around every, couple of years or whatever, getting a new house. Every time we would move, the people that make the home are there, like my family and everything.
Right.
But when I move into a new place, I don't fucking like it at all. I don't like it
I
at all.
hated El Marine.
When I moved into the place I live now, like I was like creeped out.
Apartment?
Yeah, I was
Really?
like, yeah, I swear to God, it's not even that shady, but like, I don't even know. I was just like, I remember the first week of moving in, I was still living with my girlfriend at the time. And I was like, I'm going to get a fucking baseball bat. Like, I don't know what's going on around here and all this shit.
God.
And like, you're just like, at least me, I'm just not comfortable like the first couple weeks of moving in.
I mean,
Like,
I
it doesn't
agree.
feel like home at all.
The first couple sleeps are like strange.
Yeah, they're
just because
weird.
it's in a new space, number one, and you're just not familiar with it.
Not at
I think
all. And
that's
like,
the biggest thing.
it just doesn't have, I don't know, like the more time you spend in a setting, the more comfortable you're
for
in
sure.
that setting, and then that's what leads to the home feeling. Like, I would almost consider this house home, and I don't even fucking
You
live
don't
here.
even pay rent.
I don't
You're
even
just
live
here
here.
every day.
I'm just here all the time.
That's a funny concept because it kind of brings up the psychological element of how our minds are working when we are thinking about our comfort zone and our home base or whatever. Because when I was in Italy for 2.5 months, halfway through, this was like 5 weeks into my 10-week stint, I took a week to travel. I took like 3.5 days to Ireland and like 3.5 days in the Netherlands. And I say it was like my get drunk and sober up trip, because I got drunk in Ireland and then I quote unquote sobered up in Amsterdam. And I had only known the people that I was there with, like my 3 roommates and the other friends that we had made in our school, for a month. 4 weeks I'd been hanging out with these people. And when I got back from that week endeavor in the middle, just by myself, I came back 7 days. I came back and I was back at my apartment and was like, I'm home, I'm back. And that's like not even that long at all.
no,
Like
it's
4
not.
weeks?
It's not.
That's not long at all. But I was so happy to see the faces of the most familiar people in that country, which are people that I met 4 weeks prior.
Yeah.
It's kinda
I totally
crazy.
get that. Maybe there's like, at least for me, maybe there's like home, which is like Jeff City, what we've talked about. And then there's like a really comfortable temporary home. So like maybe I would consider my apartment now like a secondary home. And I can even establish the secondary home just over a couple days. Like what you were talking about, Al, with the Holiday Inn, that would be like a very temporary home.
Super temporary.
But like when we all were
3
like
nights?
on the
2
mission
nights?
trips, like when we're fucking down in Mexico and we're in this vacant room with sleeping bags
the
everywhere.
brother's house?
Like when we're, the
was
room
our
where there was
home.
like sleeping bags everywhere and we'd all fucking change and
empty
get
room.
naked in there. That was like home. Like I would walk in that room and be like, oh, this is good. And then when I was fucking on the St. Louis trip, like I was sleeping in a computer lab under the desk, and when I would get in my spot
You'd be
under
like,
the desk,
this is my space.
I was like, this is me. This is mine right here. And what essential things do you guys need to make it home? Like one of the things I definitely have to have is like if I can like listen to my music or something like that in a space, it makes it feel more homey to me.
You could do that anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I can.
Your home could be a plain seat.
It would be a temporary home. Like that only works for temporary homes, but you're right.
I don't know. Because, I mean, we just got back from Colorado, and that Denver house that we were only staying in for, 3 nights?
It felt homey.
I mean, like, really want to live there permanently.
I wouldn't either.
There's definitely things wrong with it that I wouldn't want to like stay there forever. But
like if we
we came back from the hike and stuff, I was like, like when we walked in the door, I was like, oh, okay, we're home. Like there's like a subconscious relief that you get when you enter quote unquote home.
And if we would go back to Denver on another trip and just decide to rent the same Airbnb,
it would be nostalgic.
It would be.
It
like
would be,
if
totally.
we walked in, I'd be like, "Oh baby, here we are."
Like
again.
way more comfortable.
Yeah, no, it would be because we established that time there. We ate about 200 mini candy bars, and we just fucking.
Shout out to Ariel, you were the MVP. We literally ate a whole bag of fucking candy.
Listen, Goons. We walk in the first day.
This is bad.
It's Colorado, so there's things happening, and we walk in, and there's just a giant bowl of snack candy bars.
Rookie mistake, homeowner.
Huge.
You shouldn't have done that.
No, you fucked up.
Why do you think we came to Denver?
Not with me.
Yeah.
Not with me saying that.
Yeah, fucking Candyman over here.
Yeah. Will's the candy man. You give him a bowl full of candy, you're not going to have a bowl
Even though
full of
I
anything.
totally didn't eat the most candy.
I think I
will
did.
take
I think I won.
I totally didn't eat that
I'm pretty
much.
sure I ate like 8.
I mean, I ate a lot, but
There's a second part of the story. So we walk in, there's a huge bowl of candy, and we're like, holy fuck, this is bad. And then we go to the house, we go downstairs, there's a second bowl of fucking candy downstairs. We're like, fuck.
and it's not over. And then so we eat both bowls worth of candy, and then we're just like snoozing around in the pantry, and then we find the rest of the bag of
second
candy.
half.
We, like,
And so
found the bag that they
we
refilled
literally
the bowls with.
ate all of that as well. So
Yeah, so like you like have that experience in that place, and then I don't know, you just like develop a sense of home there. Like if we went back there, I'd be like, this is comfortable. Where's the candy at?
So like familiarity is a key.
yeah,
Maybe that's what it is.
I was about to say
home.
that
Maybe that's what it
Familiarity.
is.
because
Family. Familiarity.
even
Fornication.
if you stay, like if you're on a work trip and you come back to your own space, like a hotel, for example. I know that's not home, but it's like relieving. You're like,
Yeah.
I can
It's
finally kick my feet up and like do whatever the fuck I want to do.
It's like
and
your
I think,
bubble.
yeah, I think that in itself is my definition of home. Is hey, I can come home, do whatever I want, or come to a space and kind of do whatever I want. Like I said, like come home. Fucking, if I want to have a beer, I'll have a beer. If I want to eat, if I want to eat a whole nother bag of candy, I'll fucking do it. But I don't know.
Probably will.
How little do you guys think you could stretch that concept? Like, do you think that concept could fit in a backpack?
Yeah.
Do you think it could?
I
I
absolutely
don't know
do.
if it could for me. It
No,
would be.
I
It
don't
would be
think so.
pushing it. It would be hard.
I don't think so.
Like maybe if I had my own sleeping bag and my phone, maybe that would feel slightly homey to me. Like if I could get in the same sleeping bag every night.
Yeah, no. I need my own space of some sort.
Yeah, but at the same time, do you need any of that? Because
No, we don't need it, but
I think that home specifically, like if you have just a limited like amount of things that you can call home, then yeah, it's probably limited to wherever you're living or wherever you grew up or whatever. But I think there's an essence of home in almost every action that we do. For instance,
It's true.
like running routes. Will really likes to run the trolley trail. That's like your go-to when it's open, right? Like that's almost like an automatic. So like that trail almost is like a home for your hobby / lifestyle of distance running.
So home isn't a place; it's a feeling. Because like even when I go into
both.
work, I don't have that comfortable. Well, I do have that comfortable, but it's not like my apartment right now. But even like walking into this building I've been walking into for 2 years feels a little homey. Like I know I know the
like
people
your desk.
There. Yeah, like I have my desk,
your space
and I know
in
the
that
people.
building.
I think it's your space in
I'm
general.
comfortable with the people.
What home means to me.
Maybe that's what it is.
I think it is. Because I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, what's the difference between, like, I know work is work, but, like, that space in general, what's the difference between that space and where we are right now?
True.
Like, there's not really, obviously, when I'm at work, I am doing something and I'm getting paid for it.
Right.
And when I come home, I'm not getting paid for it, and I can kind of do whatever I want. But I don't know.
So even when you're like out coaching and you get done coaching and you come back to your desk, there's probably like you experience that feeling a little bit.
You're just like
coming to
I'm
your
done.
desk.
Yeah.
So like
kind of relax for a bit.
Is there an idea of like, is it relative? Like an optimum home is like maybe where you grew up and where your parents live. If you have that, if your parents are in the same place that you kind of grew up in, like Will's situation, that's like ultimate home. But
I think
in Will's work life, his home is probably his office.
Right.
Like for me, it's the art department. So like
that makes sense.
I'm clocking in the main shop. It's a big open 75,000 square foot workshop. But then we have like I don't know, 300 square foot shop. That's the art department. And so when I walk across the big shop into the art department,
into your zone,
I'm going to my workplace home base.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Like when I sit down at my desk, I'm like, oh, this is like my area. So maybe it's the ultimate home combines all these things.
Yeah.
Like maybe the ultimate home is like childhood memories, families there, routine. Maybe that's like the ultimate home. Like if for whatever reason I was still living in Jeff City and seeing my parents every day, that would probably be like the ultimate home spot.
Yeah,
Totally.
for sure.
Yeah.
So do our current living situations, even though we consider it home compared to like traveling somewhere foreign, like compared to driving to Philadelphia, Kansas City is insanely more home. Like, that is definitely home.
Yeah.
But comparing Kansas City to Jeff, not even close.
No, it's not. It's not close.
I still like being here for sure. It's not like it's not like
Kansas
Jeff
City,
is better. Like I enjoy Kansas City more because there's more to do.
KC is like definitely the most homiest place I've lived in under Jeff City. Maybe I lived in Columbia for a while. Columbia is pretty homey to me as well. But
I've been coming to Kansas City since I was like 3.
Sure.
Chiefs and Royals games.
I mean, compared to when me and my girlfriend were living in Columbia to where I live now, like I've had some great memories in Columbia, and Columbia definitely felt...
You were there for a while.
Yeah, it definitely felt very homey after a while. Like I was like, this is home. Columbia is my town. But Kansas City's probably coming, like if Jeff City's first, Kansas City's probably second, Columbia's probably third, just because when I lived in Columbia, it was pretty much just me and my girlfriend, and that was it. But here, I have like tons of people I know. I have lots of people I know.
You have us, Will and I.
I guess
the try.
It's annoying.
What?
Nah,
we are Will and I combined are way better than your ex-girlfriend.
I would agree, and it's not. It's not
You're not
even
supposed to say that.
I mean, this is a tangent, but like, my ex-girlfriend, if you know who you are, you're great. I wish you well, but these are my fucking dudes, and you don't compare. Right. So get
that's
the
like
fuck out of here.
saying that
for sure.
with my ex as well. And
I mean, if I went to Russia, which I know no Russian at all, and it's one of the farthest places on the planet from where we are. Well, let's say Thailand. Thailand's like the exact opposite of where we are on the planet. If you guys were there, like if we were like getting a B&B and you guys were there and I had to like work all day, like 12 hours a day, but I came home and you guys were there at the apartment or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, I guess this is home.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
I
think
like,
it. Go ahead. Sorry.
we're talking over each other because the stick of talking is fucking dead. Dude,
That lasted like 2 episodes.
it lasted like 1 episode. It's not even real.
Where is it?
The stick of talking is no longer a physical object.
¿Dónde está la sticky talking?
The stick of talking has become a mindset.
Where is it?
It's still here. It's in my mind.
We're better.
Fucking go on with your story, because I need to say what I want to say, too.
I forgot what I was going to say. You said
Okay. I am going back to, I believe you have said this, Blake, and I don't think home is a thing. I think it's more of a feeling than anything.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement there,
Yeah.
based on what we've talked about.
I would agree.
What are the essential elements?
It's definitely friends and family. That's like
I think
one.
it's love.
People, one.
Love in general.
Oh my God,
okay.
Will.
I mean,
You
just
are melting my heart right
I
now.
mean, if you think about it,
probably
it's
right,
it's just
dude.
like family.
You're probably
Tell me.
right.
That's fucking love. Your friends.
That's love
That's
as
fucking
well.
love.
Definitely.
Yeah, like if
Like
I fucking
if you're thinking holidays, fucking I
Nothing
get the
but it.
Maybe
feelings.
that's what it
Nothing
is.
but it.
Maybe that's what it is. If it's the Colorado trip we just went on, if I went on that by myself, stayed in the same Airbnb, went to the same show, and drove back by myself, that place probably wouldn't feel as homey.
It would be weird
It wouldn't be it would still feel kind of homey, but not as homey
compared to a new place.
because you guys came along. Like that made it more homey. Because it's like, oh, my dudes were in this.
I got
house.
my homies.
Yeah.
This is home. It's homey.
That's exactly
with my
right.
homies.
That's exactly. Will, I think you're onto something, dude.
I
I'm
think
gonna
you're
read you
absolutely
this
right,
quote by Dale Carnegie.
Let's hear it.
It says, "If you want to conquer fear." Nope, this is not the right one.
That sounded nice too.
Where is it?
If you want to conquer
To get
fear,
the best out of sex, you gotta bend a bitch over.
Dale
Okay.
Carnegie. Bend a bitch over.
It is by Oliver Wendell Holmes Sr.
Sorry, Dale.
Where we love is home. Home that our feet may leave, but not our hearts.
Oh my!
Okay, we're getting
I'm
sentimental.
Fucking
Yeah.
melting.
You guys randy over there?
I
Are
am.
you taking it? Will?
Feisty.
No, I'm not taking it. So ladies, come on over, boys.
Come over and make your
Guys,
home
you guys
on
want
my
to try Dutch rudder right now?
Let's do it.
If we did a Dutch rudder, this place would probably feel more homey to me.
It would be weird
We
because
would
I
always
would
remember that.
I would go to Al and you would go. You would come to me
Will says it would be weird.
You know what we should do is we should do that.
because we would have to look each other. You guys would have to look me in
Is
the
that
face.
where we all jerk each other off?
A Dutch
Yeah.
rudder? No.
I have my hand on my dick and I grab Al's arm and
Mine's-
jack it
yeah,
off
so
for
you would be
him.
like, you would be like,
like
hold my
Yeah,
arm. So
yeah,
I'd be
it'd
like this.
Yeah.
So you don't have
Dutch
to like,
rudder,
You don't have
baby.
to touch anybody else's dick, but you got to do all the work for the other
Yeah.
person jacking themselves.
So
off.
basically, we would be eye fucking the shit
That
out
would
of
be
each
like
other.
90% homosexual. Like
It would be, but it would.
has the word home in it. Home,
Oh yeah.
homoerotic,
It is.
home, homoerotic.
That
Yeah,
is-
same thing.
That's true. That
Gay
is
sex
true.
is home.
Okay,
figured
we
it
learned it.
Figured
Okay,
it out.
we're
All
done.
If you're lonely,
It was fun.
All right.
We'll see you
Homeless.
later.
Three-way train. We can make any place at
to
home.
all the message to all the homeless people out there, just stick your dick in a butthole,
A male's butt.
a male's butthole, and you won't be a hobo no mo. No hobo no mo if you stick it in a
okay.
beau's hoe.
You're done, dude. You can leave.
Instantly, like
Naming this episode Bo's
this is
Hoe.
the United States, and to be homeless, it's pretty much a crime, which is another discussion. I think it's fucked up. But if you want to get out of trouble with the law, just
Fuck
if
the
you're
guys, dude.
if you're hanging out on a bench and a cop approaches
I
you,
don't know what it was.
And he's
Fuck the
like-
guys, dude. That's what I just said.
if you're chilling on a public bench and a cop comes up to you and he's like, "Hey, do you own property? Where's your residence? You don't live here. This is public.
I own
just,
property.
Just start fucking
I
a
own.
dude.
I
Just
own
start
this
fucking
man's
a dude.
ass.
And you'll be home. Homoerotic, homosexual home.
Yeah.
But you got to pay property tax because that's how America is. Even if the car was made in 1970 and has 5 different owners that each bought it from the previous, you still got to pay
It's fucked up.
sales tax.
It's dumb.
You're welcome, government.
It's dumb.
I know, but all those things are dumb, but we also have a lot of freedom here. So
That's true.
No,
you
gotta
where I
weigh the
live.
op-
That's
you
true.
gotta weigh the options.
The
It's
U.S. is a good place.
especially with all the shit that's going on right now in the United States.
Even
Yeah.
with Donald Trump, we're still somewhat lucky, which is hard to say.
We somewhat
I mean,
lucky.
hard to say.
We are
but
fucking
yes.
very.
Let's not get into
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah,
let's just steer clear. We're going to be talking about religion coming up. That's
Hey.
probably going to be pushing it enough, but let's steer clear of the president.
When your country is being ruled by one of the most egotistical, pompous, manipulative. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's dumb, because if he were dumb, he probably wouldn't make it where he is. He's strategic, and he knows what he's doing in the element that he's entered. But
This is cut.
Yeah, just
We're not leaving this in.
okay. So I think we got the concept of home and that it's a feeling. I'm gonna ask a completely opposite question,
What you got?
and it's more about our hometown in general. Let's give the audience a little bit of
give 'em a
how we
taste of
how we
JC.
experienced Jeff City,
nice lick.
Jefferson City, Missouri. So my question to you boys: do you have like any weird, or they don't even have to be weird? When you are coming home from Kansas City, do you have to do a certain thing? Do you have to drive on a certain street? Do you have to go to a certain restaurant?
oh yeah,
Do you like what are basically what I'm asking? What are some of like your favorite things about our hometown?
Let's not all answer on our own. We should just all throw out random shit. I always take 50 instead of 70 home. Always.
Yeah, fuck
oh yeah,
that.
50's way better.
It's
that.
not. It's not even like a timely thing. It's just like when I was in college, I always took 50 home.
That's traffic.
It's not even.
There's no
it's-
semis.
It's not even that though, guys. It's not fat. I mean, it might be faster. It is more scenic, but like
both-
faster from here.
it goes back to the home routine thing. Like that's where I always drove to get back home. So I continue to do that.
I thought about that the other day.
Even if 70, like they magically were just like, hey, we added a super fast shortcut. If you take 70, it's 30 minutes faster. I'd probably still take 50.
I don't know about that. I'd probably take 70 at that point. But that's saying a lot because 70 sucks. It's pretty
bland.
pretty awful.
pretty
I'm
bland.
glad it's there because it allows us to get to pretty much everything in the country as far as the mid latitudinal cross section of the United States. I-70 kind of divides the U.S. directly in half, north to south. Maybe a little bit more south. I don't know. But anyway, I was thinking about that when I was driving back to Kansas City this last time. I passed Warrensburg,
Yeah.
and I was like, I wonder if Blake and Will just get super nostalgic
Dude.
driving this first
I do.
75% of the drive. Because
we should just explain to the viewers on the way from Kansas City to our hometown Jeff City. If you take 50, which is a route we were talking about,
even if you
here,
take 70, you still pass through Warrensburg.
you pass our college town, me and Will's.
The Dirty Burg.
And I've definitely pulled off there. I've definitely pulled off times and just like drove around and like looked at the library and was just like,
Really?
I need to. I haven't been back since like a couple of my buddies
Let's go
after.
get a beer at the garage.
No, we need to go to old Barney's, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's
Get a Long Island.
Strong Island. More like they didn't know.
It's funny because I did not go to school in Warrensburg, but if you were to ask me like what my top 10 cities in Missouri are based
That'd be
on
one of
familiarity and
Yeah.
like memories,
One of mine
fuck
would be,
yeah, the Dirty Burg's
one
on
of
there
mine would
because I
be K
visited
Vegas.
you guys.
It would be K Vegas for sure.
I visited you guys probably once a semester.
You really did.
It was fun.
Yeah, you've had some times there.
Yeah, I loved it because I wasn't at home.
Yeah.
I was in a foreign place, so it was almost like a different perspective. Like when I visited you guys,
Yeah.
and we went out to the bars, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, let's do this.
Yeah, no.
I got hammered
It's fun.
because I was like, I don't know anybody here, so this is like a fucking free
you
free
just
game.
have like no, like
It was kind of cool.
you don't have to hold yourself to.
But I
any
was
kind of
comfortable
rhetoric.
because I had a home with wherever you guys were living, and
Yeah.
I
This
had
is-
enough people there to make me feel comfortable and relaxed.
This is irrelevant, but it kind of goes back to what you were talking about, Will. Like your routines and stuff you do. Every time the summer would come around in Warrensburg, I don't know why I did this. I would always, like, as I'm pulling out of my college house, going home for the summer, I would always listen to Last Dance of Mary Jane to Tom Petty, and then directly after Tom played that, I would put on Sublime Summertime.
Yeah.
I would always play those two back to back. Tom would always come first. I don't know why I did that, but I would always.
Yeah.
I know why I did.
I know what you did.
Okay, dude. Okay, boys.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
But going back to my question.
Yeah,
come
let's
on.
get
What
to
was your
Jeff City.
question?
We're past
What?
50. We're
Yeah.
in Jeff City. Occasionally, I'll pull off on Bighorn Drive and drive by my actual childhood house.
Okay.
I'll do that
Really?
on occasion. Yes, just because it's like right there. After that, I fucking always eat at LS. Always.
So El Espolon or El Jimador, they're the same restaurants. They're Mexican restaurants, very, very good.
Better than
if
your
you're ever in Jefferson City, Missouri, and you are really hungry for some Mexican food, go to either one of those locations.
there's 5 of them.
There's a lot.
Got
And
good food.
They're
Got
quick.
Good margs.
They're quick, typically.
Super fast.
And
Don't go to the one on Edgewood.
It's just a good time. It's very good.
I usually
LS.
always eat there. Occasionally, my family, since me and my sister have grown up and we're adults now, like, we'll get into this in another podcast, but the whole, like, religion aspect of our upbringing is different now with our parents and everything. But for a long time, I would come home and we would go to, like, service together. And that was super, like, even though I'm not, like, in line with those beliefs anymore, like, just going to this place with my family in routine, that was, like, a big thing I would do. That felt very homey.
No, I agree. I get the same feeling with my family just because typically when I am home, I'll go to mass with my parents.
Yeah. It feels homey.
Yeah, it totally
feels
does.
Homey.
Yeah.
It feels very homey.
Church
I
is
think it's
nostalgic.
because
It is.
it was so.
It goes back to the
It's
routine.
such a routine,
It
yeah.
goes back to the routine.
Like I used to go to church every Saturday or every Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I did too for a long time. We'll get into this in another.
I haven't
Yeah.
since I was like 13.
But
I
speaking
did
of
that in college.
JCMO, I typically drive down either East McCarty, which East McCarty is like right next to downtown Jefferson City.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a cool. You're right.
Historical.
Yeah. And downtown Jefferson City is like not downtown Kansas City or St. Louis, like big town city. Jefferson City is very small. Obviously, the capital is there, but it's not a big town. And
I think it's like 40,000 people.
Oh, I think
in
it's
Jeff City.
I think it's more than that now.
45, 50.
It's like 50. Yeah. But I'll either drive down East McCarty or I'll go like through downtown. And our downtown is super like small town, but has that like good feeling.
It was the perfect place
Yeah.
to grow up.
It
Like,
really
It
is.
was like the best of both worlds. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't so big that you were just a number, but it
Yeah.
wasn't so small that you're just like
They
some
would know,
hillbilly.
yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
was perfect. It was perfect. Like I growing up in Jeff City, I got an equal amount of country boy and city boy in me. Like I'm like
True.
split down the middle.
Because it's like an island. Like Jeff City is by no means like a metropolis,
No.
but it still is very community based and social,
Yes.
and it's just basically surrounded by farm town.
Yeah.
Like if you
Like-
drove through Jeff City as someone that's never been to Missouri, you wouldn't say Jeff City is a town. You wouldn't call
You probably
it,
forget it.
You wouldn't call you would forget it, but like you wouldn't call it a town.
It
Yeah.
takes like 20 minutes to get from one end to the other.
Yeah, you also don't see that many like industrial like.
No, but like it's big. Like it's suburbia forever.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it
goes
is
through
just a big
suburban.
suburban.
It's like a suburban city. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it.
It
It's
kinda
like
is.
I would call it a city.
It's definitely a city. Like, it's more of a city than it is a town, but it's a small city.
Yeah.
For sure. I would not say it's a small town.
No,
Like, small town, I think of Kirksville, because it's got 15,000 people.
It's not a small town.
Fayette, Missouri, baby.
but
yeah,
there-
that's a small town.
It's not a small town, but there's a lot of small town people in it.
Yes.
Which is weird.
It is weird.
Very old fashioned. Very old fashioned town.
Conservative.
Yeah. And very cliquey. That is like one reason I wanted to get out of Jeff City.
political.
Like, as much as I love it, politics is very.
Dude, I can't
huge.
go anywhere in Jeff City without somebody being like, "You're Shay's son,"
Literally.
and I'm like, "Get the fuck out! I'm Shay's son." Yeah, you're right, but Shay's also my mom. Like, fuck.
I kind of like love and
name.
I like love and hate that. Like if I'm ever visiting my parents and I'm just like, I'm gonna go, like, I don't even know. I'll be like, I'm gonna go run to the store and get this thing, and I'll like go to a random
see, like,
store.
50
Dude,
people, you know?
yes, I'm like always ducking around. I'm like, who's that over there? Like,
Yeah,
they know
I
me.
hate that feeling.
that. They're from my high school
Totally.
class. They were a grade below me. Like I'm always just like, there's that guy's mom. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're
dipping
like,
out.
I haven't seen this person, but I know them. I'm obligated to talk to them.
Yes.
Like,
That's such a
just
weird
being
concept.
polite.
It is weird.
Yeah,
I like get anxiety about that.
I do too.
And
I
it's
hate that
stupid
shit.
because there's probably like 20% of the people we graduated with fucking moved to Kansas City. Like,
Yeah,
they're
no,
all
there's
here,
a
but
lot
it's
of
such a
people here.
it's such a big city, not compared to like Houston, but it's like a big city compared to Jeff.
Oh,
Where you
fuck
wouldn't
yeah.
And
run
so
into
like
them.
I literally never see anybody that I went to high
If you've
school
never
with.
been to Missouri and don't know what the fuck we're talking about, like we've mentioned, J-Town, Jeff City is probably like 50,000 people. Kansas City Metro is like 2 million. So like, and 2 million isn't anything compared to like Houston, but like it's a dramatic increase from where we grew up.
Right.
yeah, yes, totally. All right, what are
we wrapping this up?
let's talk a little more about
Yeah.
J Town,
Yeah, I agree.
because there's some other things that I typically do
What is it?
when I come home.
What do you do, Will? Tell me.
So when I come home, typically it's a Friday night. I drive on home, drive either down East McCarty. Typically, if it's nice, I'll go windows down. To be really, I don't know, it's weird, but that's just.
What clothes are you wearing?
I am wearing
have fresh
my birthday suit. No,
Get out of here.
but then I come home,
Rider?
and like I'm usually greeted by my family, obviously.
That's weird.
And typically,
You walk in the door, they don't
typically,
even acknowledge you. They're
if
like,
it's
"Mwah,
if
he's
it's
here."
Friday
Who's
night,
that guy?
we're either gonna get pizza or we're
Yeah, you
gonna.
are.
And if we get pizza, most likely it's gonna be Eris's
Oh, that's good.
or lately I've been trying. There's also another good pizza place, West
I know
Main.
what- yeah,
West
dude.
Main
West
Pizza.
Main.
Here's the thing.
And-
West Main on West Main. 'Cause
Yeah.
the other one
Well,
is shit.
What, the one in Columbia?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
liked
no, it's
it.
different. It's like a
It's
different
different. They're more personal
That's
pizzas.
like Pizzeria Locale.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
But that place. So we'll either get that or
What
Ella
the fuck were
Spawn.
we doing in Columbia that one time? We were all there. We got West Main Pizza.
We
You
were doing
visiting-
something
visiting
with.
me.
No, we were doing something with
I
Brookie
think
that
Brooke was
night.
there. Yeah.
Because I remember that night specifically.
Tell me.
Remember we had to like pick her up and her phone died.
I don't remember.
We were supposed to. We went and got dinner. She had something for her PT.
I think I remember
like
drinking
physical
in,
therapy?
Like, some country bar.
No, we didn't go to Nash Vegas. Maybe we did go. That's right,
No,
we
we
did.
did, dude.
We went to fucking Brian and
Yes, that was it.
Oh, with the
what's
hammock.
his name?
That was
Yeah,
it.
dude, that image.
Hammock.
Brian and Kyle,
Yeah, and then we
their
went to Piano
place.
Bar.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Oh, fuck.
Anyway,
Yeah,
Tangent.
yeah, but
Eris's Pizza is good.
yeah, it's
Jeff
very
City
good.
has good pizza. Air's Pizza, West Main, and even East Side. What is that place called?
I don't even know. It used to be Pizza Hut. I think it's like Eastland
House.
Pizza Co. now,
Yeah.
or something
Pizza
like that.
Yeah, I like that.
The crazy thing about Jeff City, all three of those places that we just named, they're all thin crust pizza. And if I have to pick
shit.
thin crust,
They are.
if I have to pick between the two, I'm going thin crust because of
Really?
Jeff City Pizza. I
That's
think.
weird. I've
I
never
like
thought
their
about that.
pizzas, but they're not like super thin. They're like a cracker.
Yeah, it's
So-
like a
Dude, I've never thought about that. I like
a crunch,
I'm
and I think
anti-thin, but I love Eris's.
those pizzas are fucking dank.
They're
Yeah.
good.
I wish we had them here.
They're really good. Yeah. Like I've had
Like
KC
Minsky's?
pizza.
Minsky's
Get the
ain't
fuck
shit.
out of here.
Nah.
I'd say Waldo Pizza is the closest to.
It's not bad.
Closest to Eris, maybe.
Yeah. And
Or Waldo. Actually, or Waldo Pizza
that's what
and
I just
West
said.
Main.
Waldo Pizza.
Waldo Pizza and West Main are very similar.
So, any other? Oh God, I forgot. Another thing that if I just want to go home and just be like, I just want to go home and I just want a treat. A staple of Jeff City boys.
You gonna say Zesta?
No.
Daisy Delight.
Oh, it's definitely
Daisy Delight or Central motherfucking Dairy.
Oh,
Central
Central
Dairy.
Dairy. How the
Yeah.
fuck
Get
did we
out.
miss that one?
Yeah. if
Best ice cream for the price anywhere I've ever been.
Yeah.
Period.
Seriously.
And like 50
Period.
flavors, not
No,
exaggerating.
at least
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
flavors.
They have a lot. It's
Homemade.
It's overwhelming.
It's
Don't go stoned, folks. Don't do it.
What are you implying? Al?
You'll be
Yeah.
there too long.
What are you implying?
That's just an estimated guess.
Okay. So basically,
Never experienced that.
Central Dairy. It's been in Jeff City as long as I can remember.
I mean, it's been there
It
a
was.
long time.
It's a milk company.
Ships all around Missouri,
Central Missouri.
Central Missouri.
Central Missouri.
Central
They've
It-
got good sour cream and onion dip.
oh, the best sour
Never
cream.
had it.
Central Dairy Center.
Are you
sour cream and onion
serious?
dip.
Never
They.
had that.
It is literally the best.
Oh
like
yeah, with fucking ruffles.
yeah,
I've never
You gotta-
had that.
you gotta get
I
the
didn't even
ridges.
know they made that.
Yeah,
Wow, I'm missing
but
out.
they also have
It's
very
so
good
good.
chocolate milk as well.
Everything they make
Yeah.
is good.
It's good.
This
So
is-
if you're going through Jeff City, you need a little pick me up, a little sweet afternoon delight. Go to Central Dairy. You will
Spend-
thank me later.
Spend $3, you get like a pint.
Seriously.
it's like more than you could eat.
You
and
can
it's
get
not
like
even a
2
couple bucks.
scoops for
A few
50
bucks.
cents.
69 cents now.
No, it's not that cheap.
One of the things I do in Jeff City that makes it kind of nostalgic for me that is unfood related is driving across the bridges. That's
Yeah.
like very Jeff City.
I don't
love that.
I
It's
typically
very
don't
Jeff
do it
City.
though because
I mean, I'm never going that
Yeah.
way
Columbia,
anymore.
yeah.
I used to all the time when I lived up in Columbia.
It's
but
a pretty view because once you're coming close to the bridges, that basically Jeff City is a river town. It's right off the Missouri River, and you cross these bridges, and right before you get to the bridges, you see the Capitol, which is
Yeah, it's
super
very
pretty.
Just
Like
the skyline.
the Jeff
technically the front of the Capitol too.
the
Just a little
Jeff
side note.
yeah, the Jefferson City Capitol is like I've heard the replica of like
St. Peter's.
Washington D.C.
Oh, is
like yeah,
It's very pretty.
Yeah.
There's a godly
it's
amount
like
of
the
money in
6th
politics.
biggest.
yeah,
I
it's
think.
cool.
It's in like the top 10 biggest.
So
That doesn't mean shit.
So, what is home to you? You should let us know. Let us know
Is it a
your
feeling?
aspects
concept?
about it that make something feel like home.
yeah,
And that's all we have to
Yeah,
say.
Are
Go-
we missing anything?
go home, you motherfuckers. That's all I
Go
have to
home.
say.
You're too drunk. Go home.
Love you.
Big
Tune
fella.
in next week.
Go home.
Ooh.
Go home.